At the end of Mad Men Season 3, Paul was not one of the elite few who were selected in a sensitive operation that put Sterling Cooper in control of its destiny again. It was a pivotal season of the critically lauded series and the beginning of a downward turn for this Mad Men character. Just one episode before the conspiratorial plans to have Lane fire them and poach their accounts to strike out on their own, JFK was assassinated in episode 12, The Grown-Ups, leaving the whole country reeling in a heartbreaking Mad Men episode. This crucial moment changed the tone of the show moving forward. Just as the United States lost a sense of optimism, Sterling Cooper was facing a loss of control over the agency, facing the prospect of being sold yet again. For the partners, it was a necessity for their risky plan to separate the wheat from the chaff. Sadly, because he didn't have the innate talent of the great Mad Men writers who weren't Don, Paul was among those let go, leading to a downward spiral. What happened to Paul Kinsey after Mad Men Season 3? Paul struggled in the ad business after Sterling Cooper. After Season 3, Paul Kinsey had little impact on Mad Men's overall plot. When he returned in Season 5, he had converted to Hare Krishna. This seems like a drastic lifestyle change, but the journey that led him there, as he reveals to Harry, makes it more understandable. After being left behind when the partners established SCDP, Paul worked at a string of increasingly obscure agencies before working as an in-house copywriter for A&P, a grocery store chain. This was considered a shadow of his former career. Finally, he dropped out of advertising altogether. In this state, Paul likely felt a renewed sense of hope and belonging when he fell in with the Hare Krishnas. He was still passionate about writing, and even showed Harry a Star Trek screenplay he was developing. The script was not very good, but Harry felt sympathy for Paul, who was clearly being exploited by the Hare Krishnas because he was an excellent recruiter. He told him a white lie that the screenplay was promising and paid him $500 on the condition that he got straight on a bus to California and did not return to the movement. Paul Kinsey had few real friends at Sterling Cooper. Paul's pretensions made him easy to dislike. In Season 5, Episode 10, Christmas Waltz, Paul gratefully accepts Harry's offer of money and tells him, "You know, all these people said they'd do something for me. You're the first one who did." This is a sad reflection of his loneliness, and unfortunately, Paul indeed had very few real friends at the workplace. In Mad Men Season 1, viewers get a first impression of Paul through his behavior towards Peggy, which is progressive, witty, and charming. However, it is soon made clear that he is merely making advances on Peggy. It is also established in Mad Men Season 1 that he had a previous relationship with Joan, which ended because he had a big mouth. Joan's dislike of Paul was clear. She hit the nail on the head when she confronted him at his party in a transformative Joan moment in Mad Men Season 2, Episode 2, Flight 1, about his pretentious posturing. Paul's friendships with both Peggy and Ken were tinged with his own jealousy, and his friendship with Pete was more of a shallow boys' club camaraderie in the early days, before Pete's ambition outgrew the workplace gossiping. Don, too, does not have much of a rapport with Paul. This is shown in Season 1, Episode 2, Ladies' Room, during the right guard pitch. Don tears apart Paul's ideas before saying the focus should be on what women want, since they are the ones who do the grocery shopping. Sal jokes, "I don't know, but I wish I had it," and Don lets it slide. However, when Paul tries to join in by saying, "I've given up trying to figure out what they think," Don responds cuttingly, "Maybe I should stop paying you." Why Sterling Cooper Draper Price left Paul Kinsey behind? Paul wasn't skilled or trustworthy enough to be in the conspirators' inner circle. By the time the discussion happens between the partners about Lane firing them and establishing a new agency, Paul has already been largely sidelined and is not invited to as many creative meetings. His talent is eclipsed by Peggy's in Season 3, who demonstrates the same knack as Don for thinking of ideas on the spot. Up to this point, viewers have not seen many standout ideas from Kinsey, except for the Jackie and Marilyn idea, which, if picked up, would have been historically awful timing. Try as he might, Paul cannot demonstrate the same skill that writers like Ken and Peggy seem to be naturals at. But this is not the only reason he isn't taken along for the ride. In Season 3, Episode 13, Shut the Door, Have a Seat, when Lane comes around to the conspiratorial idea, he says, "Anyone approached must be a certainty. If news spreads, they'll lock us out." This emphasizes that the stakes are high, and the operation must only include people they absolutely trust. This, plus the financial challenges of starting a new Mad Men agency, means they have to run it lean. On the admin side, there are only Cooper, Lane, and the professional and discreet Joan, whereas creative is only Don and Peggy, his protégé.